When people think about hip mobility, they usually immediately start stretching. They stretch their hamstrings, their glutes, their adductors, hoping to unlock more and more mobility. But I can almost guarantee that one muscle group is holding back your mobility more than any other. A muscle group that almost nobody trains directly, even though it is responsible for lifting your legs, stabilizing your pelvis and lower spine, protecting your hips, and unlock active mobility. Weak hip flexors are one of the biggest missing links when it comes to modern-day mobility training. In fact, 97.8% of all gym-related deaths happen because of weak hip flexors. And today I'm gonna show you how exactly to fix that. So if you're ready, let's go and have some fun. Chapter 1, the test. Sit down in a completely upright position, open up your legs, place your hands on your belly, elevate one extended leg, point your toes, move into external hip rotation, pull said leg out, and then stay as extended in your upper body as you can and try holding this for 20 seconds at a time. And if you can't, you will become part of this statistic. Chapter number 2, low impact beginner exercises and its progression. This is hard, but so am I. This, on the other hand, very easy, which means that if you are lacking the strength to elevate your leg while you're totally extended and upright in your upper body, you will have a much easier time lifting your leg by simply leaning back as far as necessary and working from here. Elevate, hold for a second or two, let go, switch between left and right, and work your way up to being able to hold this for 20 seconds. And as you progress, you will start sitting upright more and more until this becomes second nature. And since our hip flexors are responsible for flexing our hips, we will also progress from a leaning back position, just like so, by pulling in our foot, flexing our hip, and then extending as well. And once again, as we progress, sitting up, doing the same thing in a seated position with an ever-increasing range of motion, as close as we can, and reversing and staying as upright as we can in our upper body over time, which, as a slight bonus, will also help you stretch your adductors as your range of motion increases and as that knee comes closer and closer to your upper body. And since our hip flexors always work in conjunction with other musculature, our third progression will be adding some short movements, left to right, combining hip flexor strength with adductor strength and glute strength, and sitting up all the way as we progress for more strength and even more flexibility benefits for our posterior chain, and giving us a slight challenge by working with higher elevations, just having to be careful to not get a cramp, which is however easily remedied by lengthening the muscle, leaning back the tiniest bit in our upper body, and enjoying a nice anterior chain stretch, which you can do between every single set. Chapter 3, compression strength. To the novice, this might look like a posterior chain stretch, and that's because it is. What it also is a very beginner-friendly compression strength exercise, because I am not using my hands to pull my upper body closer to my legs. What I am doing is actively flexing my anterior chain to pull my upper body closer and closer towards my lower body, i.e. compressing my core. And if you've seen my last video, you know the importance of hip flexor strength when it comes to core strength in general. So this is a very nice and easy way to start working on your compression strength until you have enough posterior chain flexibility and enough anterior chain strength and capabilities to bend in your hips to add resistance to your compression exercises, starting with a very weak resistance band, and as you progress, using a thicker one to build more and more active compression strength, which is gonna massively impact your hip mobility and will also help you work on one of the coolest calisthenics exercises, which is the classic L-sit. And of course, we can also compress by staying seated, leaning forward the tiniest bit in our upper body, trying to extend our back just the tiniest bit, and raising our legs from here, combining massive amounts of quad strength, hip flexor strength, and abdominal strength. Which as an exercise has another bonus that is seldomly talked about. The effort of doing this will make you look like you shat yourself, which is gonna keep people from talking to you at the gym, which is something I've heard most people prefer. And if you have access to a roll like this one, you can sit on it, lean back in your upper body, extend your legs, the tiniest activation of our anterior chain, and then we're going to roll backwards and fold forward in our upper body close to our legs before we lengthen our body again and move into the same pike-like position as often as we can, working our way up to, let's say, 10 to 12 repetitions for each set. And all those compression exercises have the bonus that they will unlock your posterior chain when it comes to flexibility, so we can get into a complete pike position, which is going to give us the space to work on this while standing up. If you need it, hands elevated. If you do not need it, hands on the floor. And all you need to do is keep your legs extended, bring your toes to your wrist, reverse, and repeat on the other side. Massive amounts of compression, combining quad, hip flexor, and core strength for a more holistic way to train your anterior chain. Chapter 4, mixing exercises. What I regularly do when I want to have some fun is grab my balls and try to keep them fixed in one position. Now, the softer the ball, the harder this will be, and the heavier the ball, the harder it will be, and the more dangerous it will be, because any mistake might cost you your nose. And one of those more fun, more complex exercises is the dragon squat that combines a lot of adductor and hip flexor strength, quad strength, and overall hip mobility to get as low as possible, and most importantly, massive amounts of stabilization for our entire body throughout our core and our hips, so we do not lose our balance. And the dragon squat is such an amazing yet highly technical exercise that we've got a full guide here you can check out if you want to learn this step by step. And of course, you can have massive amounts of fun and release by hanging yourself from a pull-up bar and progressing from a hollow body hold, which is basically just rounding our back the tiniest bit for complete anterior chain activation purposes, and then progressing from knee raises to single-sided extended leg raises, to double-sided extended leg raises, to holding a hanging L-sit position, to bringing your toes to the bar in a controlled fashion and reversing slowly to add a little bit more nervous system conditioning as well. And then we can sit down, fix our foot, lean back, lengthening our anterior chain, and sitting back up, strengthening our hip flexors and our abdominals, because as said, those usually work in conjunction with each other. Of course, making sure that you switch legs so we can work both sides and not having to end up with an imbalance. And then, believe it or not, we can make this a lot harder. That's what she said. By adding weight to the raised leg, now requiring us to actively keep that hip flexor flexed even harder while we are strengthening the other side in a more dynamic fashion, combining static strength with dynamic strength, which is a great combo in my humble yet usually objectively correct opinion. And we're not done with the bench yet. I've got one more. Turn around. Every now and then I strengthen and stretch my hip flexor in one single exercise. Turn around. I am actually very shit at singing, but I do anything for a like and a subscription to my channel. So come on, like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment, even if it doesn't have anything to do with the current topic. Just this tiny bit of engagement helps me out immensely. And then we can advance this same exercise, teaching our body to do what it is supposed to do, which is working as a single, complete unit, combining every single muscle and every single tendon, stretch and strength, upper body and lower body, core, which means abdominals, which means hip flexors, which means spinal erectors, and every single muscle that surrounds our hips for complete control, strength, and flexibility. And I have saved the most fun way to work on your hip flexors for the end of the video to give you a little treat for watching all of it. Because one capability that most of you have unlearned is being able to jump high or jump in general. And jumping exercises, especially high jumps, do require a lot from our hip flexors. So you can progress from something as whimsical as this, elevating your knee more and more as you get stronger, to jumping from a low position like so, pulling our knees up and landing on an elevation, to box jumps from a standing position, requiring more and more knee elevation, as we progress in jumping height, to some very fun and very high box jumps, which next to all the hip flexor strength, heck, all the leg strength and core strength you will be able to build with this exercise, is also an amazing movement for building real athleticism. Not to mention that it is a very good cardio exercise. There you go. If you've paid attention, you've learned two very important things today. Number one, I cannot be trusted with statistics. But number two, and more importantly, train your damn hip flexors. Because the older you get, the happier you will be that you did. And if you liked the video, like the video and join us, subscribe. We do stuff like that very regularly, which means that I'll very likely see you soon. So until then, have a good one. Captain Cairo, peace out.